Here we go, learners. Attributive adjectives. Let's break it down. An attribute is a characteristic or feature of something. An adjective is a word that modifies or describes a noun. So an attributive adjective is a word that modifies a noun that describes its characteristics or its features. You know them probably just as adjectives. Attributive adjectives are very similar to articles. In fact, articles are a specific kind of attributive adjectives. Just like articles, attributive adjectives are diagrammed on a diagonal line underneath the noun that they modify. Now be careful, because a common mistake as we get into all of these modifiers is putting the attributive adjective anywhere on a modifier line. I've seen attributive adjectives underneath verbs, and that's not correct, because attributive adjectives will never, ever, ever modify verbs. Let me show you an example of correct and incorrect diagramming of attributive adjectives. In this example sentence, many dogs are barking. Many is the attributive adjective. It modifies the noun dogs, which means it should be diagrammed on a modifier line underneath that noun it modifies. In this sentence, dogs. However, sometimes the attributive adjective will be placed on a modifier line under the verb. That's not correct, because many does not modify are barking. Sometimes a sentence will have multiple modifiers. For example, many tiny dogs are barking. In that case, you will have multiple modifier lines, and they'll appear in the order they are in the sentence. Let me show you what I mean. Here is the diagram for many tiny dogs are barking. Notice I have two modifier lines, both underneath dogs, because dogs happens to have two attributive adjectives attached to it. That's okay. In fact, that's normal. Continue to capitalize the first word in each sentence. For example, many in this sentence. Let's try some together. Here's the sentence, this old man danced. Let's start by finding the subject. What is the sentence about? It's about a man. Let's label the verb next. What did the man do? Danced. Let's look at the two words we have left, this and old. They're both modifiers. They both give more information about the man. They are both attributive adjectives. Now, to keep things simple in our parsing, we're just going to label them ADJ. And now we're ready to diagram. Here's the diagram for this old man danced. Keep in mind that this and old appear in the same order that they are in the sentence. I don't, for example, put old on the farthest left line and this after it. It goes in the same order that I saw it up in the sentence. Let's try another one. Here we have the sentence, you could become a famous singer. Now this sentence deals with a concept from a previous video, the concept of predicate nominatives. If you're not familiar with that concept, I'd recommend going back and rewatching that video. It's lesson 3. The subject of this sentence is you. That's who or what the sentence is about. The verb could become. It's okay that it's 2 words. Remember, lots of verbs have more than 1 word. What is singer? This is what's going through my head. What is singer? Well, it's a noun, but it's not standing alone. It's renaming the subject, renaming what you could become. Singer is a predicate nominative. Now I go back and fill in the words that I left out. A is an article, and famous says what kind of singer you could be. It's an attributive adjective. Remember, we label it ADJ. Now I'm ready to diagram. It doesn't matter where the attributive adjectives or articles are in the sentence. They're always diagrammed on diagonal lines underneath the noun they modify. If I were to put a and famous underneath you, the sentence would read, a famous you could become a singer. That's kind of funny sounding. So make sure that you put the articles and adjectives underneath the noun that they describe. Let's try one more. Here we go. That glass was a broken cup. Subject, glass. Verb, was. So what is that? That is an adjective because it describes glass. It says which glass we're talking about. What is A? A is an article. How about broken? Broken is also an adjective. And what about cup? Cup is a noun, yes, but how is it connected to the rest of the sentence? It renames the subject, doesn't it? Because it says what the glass was. So it's a noun that renames the subject. It's a predicate nominative. Now that all of my labels are done, I'm ready to diagram. Lots of modifiers in this one. That glass was a broken cup. Starting to make sense? This is building on skills that we already know. It might help to connect this learning to articles. Remember, articles are a special kind of attributive adjective. They also go underneath the noun that they modify. Let's try some together. This sentence reads, the noisy siren screeched. What's the subject? Siren. And what did it do? Screeched. That's our verb. What about the? What part of speech is that? If you said article, you're on a roll. How about noisy? That's our attributive adjective. We label it ADJ. Go ahead and pause the video and try writing down the diagram. When you're ready, press play and compare your diagram to mine. How'd you do? The noisy siren screeched. What I really like about sentence diagrams is it makes it very easy to find the meat of the sentence, so to speak. Because if we take all of the modifiers off, we're left with siren screeched. It's kind of a clunky caveman sounding sentence, but it's grammatically correct. It has a subject, it has a verb. So we might have a really long sentence, which you'll see in later videos, very long complicated sentences, but as long as you can find a subject and verb, everything starts to build around that. So that's really the foundation of diagramming and what I like about it so much. Let's try another one. Here's the sentence, 7 children were running. Who or what is the sentence about? We start by finding the subject. Children. Not 7. What's the verb? Were running. That's what the children were doing. 7 is an attributive adjective. Pro tip, colors and numbers, they're adjectives. Go ahead and try diagramming. Check with me when you're done. Seven with a capital S. Children were running. Let's try one more together. Here we go. Nice long sentence for you. A big sturdy box can become a fun car. Let's think. Who or what is the sentence about? It's not about a car. It's about a box. Now, what about that box? The box can what? Can become. Let's go back to the start of the sentence. A is what part of speech? Article. How about big? What part of speech is big? Adjective. Very good. And sturdy? Another adjective. I already labeled box and can become. I'm looking at this A. It's still an article. How about fun? Fun is an adjective. And what's the deal with car? Car is a noun, right? Some of you might have thought car was the subject, but the sentence is not about a car. Car is a noun, and it renames. It connects back to the box. The box and the car, they're the same thing, at least in a child's mind. Car is a predicate nominative. Now we're ready to diagram. There's lots of adjectives here, so be careful. Give yourself enough space on the baseline to include all of those modifiers. Even if the word box or car is a small word, give yourself a longer line so that you're able to fit in all of those modifiers comfortably. Go ahead and pause the video and try it on your own, and then press play and check with me when you're done. Does your diagram look like mine? Notice how I have a really long line for box. The word does not take up all that space, but I need that space because I have 3 modifiers for that noun. That's okay. Diagramming is less about having everything be the precise length it needs and more about where things are connected. So if you run out of space, if, for example, box ends right here and you need to put sturdy underneath the verb, that's not correct. That's a time when you would need to erase and shift your diagram over a little bit. It's more important that the modifiers go underneath the word that they modify than that everything is precisely the right length that it needs to be for each word. All right, I'm going to put 3 sentences up. You pause the video and try them by yourself. When you're ready, press play and check your answers. Here are your 3 sentences. The new teacher was a writer. The mismatched socks itch. Quiet music was playing. Pause the video. Don't forget to parse. Don't forget to label each word in the sentence with its part of speech. It's especially important as we're going forward into longer and more complicated sentences. The more accurate your parsing, the more accurate your diagram. Pause the video. Try it now. How do your answers match up? The new teacher was a writer. The mismatched socks itch. Quiet music was playing. How'd you do? Excellent. So let's connect attributive adjectives to your real world writing. Adding attributive adjectives to your sentences is a great way to make your writing more vivid, more interesting. If you're a fiction writer, you want your readers to be able to visualize the scenes that you are crafting in your head. Adding attributive adjectives is one way to do that. Even if you're writing nonfiction or essays for school, it still helps your reader visualize exactly what you're describing. Sometimes assignments will have word counts where you need to write a certain number of words or more. Adding attributive adjectives is a great way to add a length to your piece without adding additional concepts that might confuse readers. Attributive adjectives help you write longer and more complex sentences, which is always an advantage. Finally, when it comes to diagramming, working with attributive adjectives helps you improve your understanding of modifiers, what they are, where they go, and why they're important. I hope you found today's lesson helpful. Happy writing!